Hey guys and girls, Jamie here, jumping between jobs. Nice. As I'd mentioned this morning, I've been doing some thinking about this TUMBLER RIDGE mass shooting, and I was gonna wait a while before I talked on this about grieving, right? As we know, it's a natural response to a loss of life, right? And grieving will it's such an individual thing, right? It comes with such a range of emotions as per individual. And I remember back in college, I was, the psychology and instructor in the faculty, or whatever you call it, facilitator, was told us when it comes to grief, there's a 7-stage process, right? These are his theory behind it, right? And so number one, you have shock, denial, anger, the depression, the testing, and acceptance, right? And I'm not too sure if I fully agree with those. Definitely some of them. And in the grieving process, it definitely helps an individual heal after experiencing such a loss, right? It's definitely going to grieving, heck, with a mass casualty like that. The trauma that comes from that is it's going to be very, very significant. It's any grief will take away from any sense of normalization in your life, right? Any kind of routine. You can become physically ill, as we know. So it's going to disrupt your sense of normality in your life, right? 110%, it's going to hammer TUMBLER RIDGE. It's a mass shooting like that, grieving such a freaking horrific tragedy in such a small community. Your grieving process is going to have many relapses, right? The grieving process within itself. You're going to have setbacks with this. Sorry, I'm getting elevated. I'm very, this has bothered me, and I'm thinking it's as I shared on my reel this morning. What a sad thing, and it happens often. It happens way too often, right? Usually it's people die every day in Mexico by the bundle, and what we don't hear, but you can dang sure count on it that it happens, and we often hear more of it, south of the border, right? USA. With all the news and all that baloney. But due to the size of that community, TUMBLER RIDGE, I've been up there years and years ago. I got, family up in that direction, up in the, Chetwynd and all that area, the Fort St. John, Dawson Creek. Much love to you all. I got friends out there, and everybody's going to be affected by this, right? And I'm not trying to take any of this away from the immediate individuals involved, be it the RCMP, who, you know, have done a great job from what we hear, paramedics, first responders, right? Like the right up to the you know, the BC ambulance service, the helicopters, the nurses, the doctors, the bystanders, the strangers that helped. The impact is going to be massive. And you know, from a professional standpoint, when it comes to life coaching, and I've worked with clients, I haven't had a lot of clients that have brought up loss of life in a coaching session, but it happens. I have had, like, you know, one in-depth client and another lady that touched on it in the past, and you know, Wounded Warrior Coaching and Development, you know, over you know, I sure hope that these individuals out there that are or anybody for that matter that is going through any kind of a loss, be it a single loss in your life or a mass, anything, any kind of a loss, not putting a meter on that, that they seek professional help, you know, and be that a psychologist, a counselor, a life coach, you know, at the very least, find a friend that you can confide in, whom you trust, and that you can keep talking when things come up for you. Somebody that you can cry around, you know, and somebody that can assist you and get you through and give you some emotional validation, right? Without judgment, you know, because you're going to feel a bunch of emotions, right? You know, like I had mentioned before, you're going to feel the shock, the denial, the anger, the depression. And if you know, when you're not going to really notice it, others are going to recognize it. In a community like Tumbler Ridge, and with it being so small, it's all going to be intertwined, and everybody knows each other, and they've all crossed paths, right? Being from a small town myself, you know, bigger than Tumbler Ridge, but you know, we had an incident back in the day on a Halloween night, you know, and there was a young girl that lost her life, and you know, the impact that one incident made, and took people out, right? Just took people down. You know, I can recall that was so, you know, and you reach out for personal support as well, right? Like, once again, grief is an individual thing. You're not being selfish. You need to look after you before you can look after somebody else, be it your, you know, of course you want to be there for your significant other and your brother that lost, you know, all the immediate, you know, when it touches an immediate family member or a best friend, but ultimately, really, you need to look after yourself before you can help anyone else, right? Because compounding all that stuff, eventually, in due time, it's going to hit you like a fucking Mack truck, and you're going to crumble, you know, and I'm sorry, but that's the truth. So, you know, utilize some personal support, like I said, psychologists, counselors, life coaches, a best friend, or just a good person that you trust, you know, out on the farm, somebody where you can cry. Like I said, I'm repeating myself here. And you can create some personal strategies to let it out and talk about it, right? goal setting seems so elementary, as Jamie, I always use that word, elementary, but it'll help you reach and identify and give yourself some pats on the back for reaching milestones within your grief over time, right? You got to do that for yourself, and as well as, like being proactive, goal setting, right, is a big thing for somebody who may suffer from alcoholism, or has substance use problems, or prone to depression. They just might have a imbalancing in their body, and they're going to be off. ADHD and grief is not a good mix either, right? So and people out there with PTSD already, of course, we know it's going to trigger and bring back things. So setting up, stepping back from all the stuff that's going on right now, Tumbler. Set yourself up, be proactive, because if you're a recovering alcoholic and you're a recovering addict, or you've had PTSD and stuff, what do? We self-medicate, right? Or we overuse the prescriptions we got from the doctor. So we don't want to fall back into that, because we know what happens, right? It just numbs everything. And once again, it hits you like a frickin' rodeo, 2,000-pound rodeo bull, right square in the side of the noodle, right? So, anyways, much love. I'm sure you can sense some frustration within me. I'm hurt. I'm sad. The anger meter, like I told you guys, being educated in wellness, life coaching, being a health and safety officer out there, I've seen some stuff. I've been through some stuff. I smile because I'm smiling because I'm able to recognize that I'm still not 100% well, because this has triggered me to go right to an angry place where I just want to rip and tear, people apart. That person that harmed everybody, and that's not right. But I know what worked for me. The last couple days was something that's, relatively new to my life, is praying it away. Just talking to the spirit world or what have you, and or a higher power of your choice, and praying for some sound guidance, so that I don't, people out there don't lose themselves due to this tragedy. Anyways, that's my that's where I'm at with the grief. We all know this stuff. I just like to talk about it. If this helps somebody out there, that's great. I love you guys. Everybody have a good day. Thanks.